I'm a golfer, and I'm pretty serious about the whole golfing thing. So I decided, as a gift to myself, with a little Christmas money, I was going to go to one of the top club fitters in the nation, and they're going to give me this evaluation of my clubs and my game and all this different stuff, and then they can make their recommendations of how I could improve. And I knew what they were going to tell me. I need new golf clubs. I need this. I need that. I knew that was coming. But here's the thing that I had all this data. You know, you hit balls into a screen, and it tells you, you know, how far you're hitting it. Why are you hitting it left or right? Or the angle of attack and all these different things. And as I sat there and I talked to this guy, there were things that I learned. There were things that I agreed with. There were things that I disagreed with. And then there were things that he said to me, and I go, I just don't think that's for me. And then when I looked at those things, I said, I wonder if that's the same way people feel when they have a financial evaluation. They sit down with somebody and they say, yeah, I didn't know that. So they learned something. And then they said, I don't know if that's right for me. So, Jay, tell me about that. What is it that people come away with if somebody has those kind of questions in a meeting with you when you sit down and talk about their retirement?
Yeah, so side note on that, right, Randy? So I'm not as an avid golfer as you. I've been trying to get into it more and more for years. Yes. And I'm pretty tall, right? I'm 6'3", so I was like, oh, well, the reason I'm not good is because these clubs are too small, you know? So I went and got fitted as well. I think I went through the same thing. I was there for 2 or 3 hours. It's kind of fun, actually. I enjoy it. You get to hit the different clubs. And so they create this club, they lengthen them, whatever. Yeah, it didn't help. I'm still not very good. So
was it not the magic bullet, huh?
Not the magic bullet. But yeah, I think what you're talking about here is going to a firm, right? And they're already offering solutions before they even know what's going on with you, right? And that's so. Would you get the feeling like, oh yeah, like I'm not really sure if this is for me? I would, right? I've told you this story before. I think this is a client. She's still a client of mine. She must have been a client for like 15 years or so by now. And it was when I was starting the company years ago. And she came and she talked to me and she said, yeah, I was referred to you by whoever. I was like, okay, great. And she said, well, I want to know if I can retire. She worked for like 40 years or something at USAA. And when she said that to me, I said, I don't know. I don't know if you can retire. Like, let's chat. Let's do some discovery. Let's figure out what's going on with you. Let's put a plan together, and I'll let you know. I hope you can, but you know, until we go through that, I really won't know. And she was like, okay, that's fine. So we went through the whole process. We had a second meeting. We delivered the plan. Everything was fine. She was in a great situation. And I said, hey, look, you know, after going through everything, these are the numbers. These are the results. And, you know, I would have no hesitation saying, yeah, you're in a good position to retire. She's like, okay, great. And so anyway, she decides to work with us. We get everything rolling. And then maybe a month or so later, she's coming in with her checks from 401ks and different rollover accounts. And I said to her, and I knew she had been meeting with 3 or 4 other advisors. And I said to her, hey, you know, I'm always trying to improve this business to do more of what our customers like, right? Like what did you enjoy? What made you feel good? What information did you learn that we can keep perfecting that? And she said, well, it wasn't really anything special. I was like, all right, I don't know where she's going with this, but what's she about to say? And she said, out of everybody that I met with, when I asked them, could I retire? You're the only one that said I didn't know. She said, everybody that I spoke with before they even knew what was going on with me, they said, yeah, you're fine. You can retire, you know, roll your money over. And she said, how could they possibly know that? They don't know how much is in my account. They don't know if I have debt. They don't know, you know, what my Social Security is going to be. They don't know anything. So how can you give me that answer? And she said, you're the only one that didn't. So anyway, that's why she became a client.
Interesting.
And I've got to feel, if I were those people and I go to a company and say, hey, can I retire? Oh yeah, you can retire and you should do this, this, and this. Well, wait a second. Like, why, what's the rationale for saying that?
Yeah, see, when I came away from that whole experience of that golf fitting, at the end of it all, I got 4 more yards from my driver, and I was like, you want to? I'm supposed to, spend $600 on a driver, and then it's got some exotic shaft in it, and then you're going to do all this stuff for 4 more yards, and that's kind of like looking at me in the investment world and say, I'm going to get you another 1/4% or another 0.5%. Is it really worth that? Is that really for you? And I think that you kind of got to look at yourself in the mirror and your advisor and what they're saying and say, is this really for me? If this person is saying, yeah, you're going to need 7%, and in order to do that, we have to have you at high risk, or you don't like any risk, and that's really not you. You've got to kind of figure out what that fit is. And this person was looking at 4 different advisors, and you were one of them, and you kind of said the thing that she kind of wanted to hear, and that was, I'm not really going to know until the numbers bear it out. Let's see what the numbers say. And that's probably a good practice for you as the client to be able to hear from your financial advisor.
Yeah, and you mentioned something interesting, and I want to just expand on a little bit. You said, well, to make this retirement work, you need a 7%, which means you need more risk. Or whatever. If we break that down more, it's also looking at, is the advisor that you're talking to, do they have every option available that could work for you? Or are they restricted in what they can offer? Mm-hmm. Because, and this is a discussion for another show, but in my book that I've told you about before, Wall Street's Game, I talk about this, is that the term financial advisor, I got to tell you, there's not a lot of rules around who can call themselves a financial advisor and who can't, right? That's why the industry is a bit of a mess, because there's, you can wake up one day and be like, yeah, I'm a financial advisor today. Mm-hmm. Well, are you? You can tell people that, but are you? And, is the financial advisor, and for people on the radio, I'm kind of using that in air quotes, can they only offer you an insurance solution? And there's really no investment opportunity out there that they can put you in. So if that's the case, they're only going to be recommending a very small number of products because that's all they can offer you. Is the person you're talking to, can they only offer you investments from one particular company? So everything that they recommend has got to fit into this very narrow range because that's all they can offer? If that's the case, I would say to be very careful, right? Mm-hmm. And I'd say that they should be looking for somebody who is independent, not attached to a bank, an insurance company, a bigger investment firm, and they have the flexibility to pivot and offer whatever it might be that is the right solution for that client. And in my opinion, it's one of the biggest negative aspects to the industry is these captive agents, all right, or captive advisors. And when I say that is they're part of entity ABC, right? Whatever the name of this entity is. And if you go to somebody who works for ABC company, guess what? You're only going to be offered ABC investments, right? That's it, because they're captive in that. So an independent, non-affiliated advisor, I think, is very important.
Yeah, this month I'm probably going to buy a car after 13 years of driving my car. And, I have this thing that I do when I start shopping around. I look at the sales guy and I said, dude, I said, I'm sure you're a great guy and everything, but you're the first guy that I've gone to see, and I seldom buy at the very first place I go, but you might be it. But I'm not probably going to buy from you today, but I'm just going to figure out what you're all about. And that usually works, and I tell the same story to every person I go see. they take the pressure off me. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a feel. I know what kind of car I want to buy, but I'm trying to get a feel for that person who's on the other side of the desk. And I think you need to do the same thing with your financial and with your retirement planning. And I think
that
it's
example
really
you gave is excellent, and it's a clearer example than I was trying to give, really, right? If you go to a Ford dealership and you list out the specs of all these things you need, right? Mm-hmm. Whether a Ford vehicle is the correct option for you, maybe it's a Chevy, right? I don't know. Kind of, it depends what these specs are. Mm-hmm. Maybe a Chevy is the real answer for you. You're at a Ford dealership. Guess what? They're not going to tell you to go to the Chevy store and go and buy a Chevy. They're going to say, we have the option for you because all they can offer is the Ford. Now, with a vehicle, it's a little bit more obvious, right? Kind of like it's very clear. Like, I'm going to a Ford dealership. Of course, they're going to recommend that. It's not as clear for people in the investment world. It's so opaque and kind of hidden through different layers that it's not obvious to people, but it's something that you need to be aware of.